Namaste, welcome everybody. So in today's class, we are going to be focusing on stretching out bodies that are maybe spending a little bit more time sat at desks or maybe back into offices even now. So we've been talking about maybe into the neck, the shoulders and the upper back, really stretching and decompressing through the spine. And this fits in quite well with the fact that as we're recording or teaching this class, it is Mental Health Awareness Week. And we can tend to hold a lot of our emotional stress and strain and tension in our neck and shoulders. You might even feel that yourself when you get stressed. You might find that you're hunching your shoulders up or you're holding a lot of tension in your neck. So we'll just try and release some of that through the physical body today. You can start lying down. The only props you might need later on are either a bolster, a couple of cushions, or rolled up blanket, just something kind of soft that you can use to prop yourself up in one of the later poses. But we're going to start lying down so you can come straight into Shavasana like we would end the class. Extending the legs, letting the feet fall out to the side. Arms can either be down beside you with palms facing up, or you can bring one hand to chest, one hand to tummy. Those of you joining live will already know I like to start the classes always by focusing in on the breath to begin with. So just starting to breathe in and out through the nose if that's available to you. And just simply noticing the breath. So perhaps if you have had a busy day today, this might be the first time that you've done any sort of intentional breathing. So with your focus actually on the breath as opposed to your breath just running water behind it. Really just take a few moments to check in with how the breath stands as it is right now. And while we're here, we will check in on the physical body. So just taking a quick scan from the top of the head down. Start with the crown of the head and then softening across the eyebrows. Softening through the jaw. Then checking in with the neck and the shoulders. You might want to just shuffle the shoulders slightly down the mat. See if you can relax any tension that you find. Just scanning down through the arms, the wrists and the hands. Again, just noticing any sensations, any tension. See if there's any way you can soften slightly. Same from the upper back. So starting at the shoulders, coming into the upper back. And the torso, and the lower back. Down through the hips. Checking with the legs, just noticing again if there's any tightness, any tension. We are specifically thinking about sitting at desks or anything like that, maybe the hamstrings or even the calves, ankles or the feet might need a little bit of love this evening. And then bringing your attention to your heart space and just checking in with how you're feeling today. Simply noting how you're feeling at start of practice and allowing yourself to let go of any thoughts that might still be going on in your head from the rest of the day. Just allow ourselves to be fully present. So if our mind starts to wander, just bring it back to the breath, back to the present moment. A little bit of mindfulness into our practice. Breathing a little bit deeper now, so a little bit more control to the breath. Draw the breath all the way down the tummy. Slowly exhaling. Just notice any effect on your body as you breathe deeply like this. Maybe it's a little bit easier to soften or relax. Maybe it feels quite difficult to breathe that deeply. Maybe we've spent too much time breathing just into the chest and it's a little bit harder to draw it down to the tummy. Don't stress about it, just try and breathe evenly. Before we start the practice, let's take 3 cleansing breaths together. Just imagine we're letting go of anything else from our day on each exhale. Taking a deep inhale through the nose, exhaling it fully through the mouth. In through the nose, out through the mouth. And one more, in through the nose and out through the mouth. Just gently blinking the eyes open when you're ready. And we'll start by drawing the right knee in towards the chest. And just gently to begin with, and we'll circle through the ankle. And just mindful movements, so nice and slow, just noticing any sensations, any tension. And just hugging the knee a bit tighter in towards the chest. You can always have the left knee bent and the foot down on the mat if you need. And then placing the right foot down to the mat. Taking the right arm out beside you, we're going to take the left hand to the right knee and just start to guide it across the body. If you find this is a bit too much for your lower back and you want to make it a little bit more gentle to begin with, just bring both feet together, knees together, and drop the knees over in one movement. So we're either sweeping the right knee across the body, trying to keep right shoulder grounded, chest facing up, or we're bringing knees and feet together and just dropping both knees over. This is going to be a little bit more gentle on your lower back. Remember, you don't need to force it. Even if there is tension in your back, we don't want to force it out. We just want to gently guide the body, stretching, releasing. On your next inhale, bring the leg back to center, placing the right foot down on the mat, then bringing the left in to join it. And from here, we will take the right foot so that the right ankle is above the left knee. Had to think about that then. And we're just pressing the right knee open, maybe staying here, or maybe reaching through and drawing the left leg in towards you. Don't worry about how far you can go or any expectation. I'm just noticing myself that I'm really tight in the hips today. So I am actually going to have to release my expectation of how far I can go in this pose. Breathing deeply, just noticing how the hips are feeling today. And then placing the left foot back down on the mat, right foot next to it. And this time we're going to hug the left knee in towards the chest. The right foot can either stay on the mat or extend the right leg away. So just gently to begin with, just a loose hold on the leg. We'll start by circling through the ankle. Nice slow circles in one direction. And then the other. And then squeezing that left knee in towards the chest. Releasing the left arm down beside you. We'll either sweep the left knee over to the right hand side, or again, you can bring knees and feet together. So you drop the knees together. Trying to keep the left shoulder grounded, whichever version you're doing, and the chest pointing up. It's okay if you need to take a different version on this side to what you did on the other. And inhaling, coming back to center, placing the left foot down to the mat, sliding the right foot in to join it, and then pick up that left foot, place the ankle just above the right knee, flexing the left foot, and then maybe drawing the right leg in towards you, so holding behind the thigh or behind the shin. Again, this might be different on one side to the other. Just releasing the right foot down, left foot down to join it. Just bring soles of the feet together, let knees fall out to the side. Maybe just rocking from side to side. I'm not staying in this reclined butterfly for long. It's just a little stretch to the inner groin. And then knees back together, hugging knees in towards the chest and rocking backwards and forwards a couple of times. We come all the way up to sit and then over on hands and knees. Hands are going to come onto shoulders, knees under hips. And inhale, dropping the belly, lifting the gaze, looking up. And exhale, rounding the spine, gaze towards the tummy. And just nice, slow, mindful movements, trying to get through all of the spine. Even with your own pace of breath. Making this your last one. Coming back to a neutral spine, just bringing the hands forward slightly, spreading the fingers nice and wide so we can tuck the toes and come up to our first downward dog. Just maybe pedaling through the feet, bending one knee and then the other. And just noticing where you might be feeling any sensations. And if you are having any sensitivity in your back, just knowing that you can bend your knees as much as you need to be able to get that length into your spine, really pushing the hips up and back. Then from here, reaching right leg up behind you. Put the toe through the hip. And then re-straighten the leg. Step it through between the hands to give it a little bit of help if it needs. Placing the left knee down. Coming into your low lunge. So we're just going to sink the hips forward. Try and lift the chest up. We're not crunching into our lower back. Staying here, you can always put a couple of blocks under the hands if you have them handy. And then placing the left hand down next to the foot, opening up with the right arm, twisting open to the right. Try and keep the hips low. Any sort of rotations in the spine are great for any lower back pain or even upper back pain. Releasing the hand down to the mat. Tucking the back toes, stepping back to your downward dog. Next, reaching the left leg up. Inhale, exhale, bending the knee to open through the hip. Trying to make sure that your left knee is the highest point, so you're reaching it up as if it was pointing up towards the sky. Re-straighten the leg and then step or help it through between the hands. And let the right knee come down to the mat. So again, we'll start off in this kind of low lunge. Fingertips down, trying to lift the chest and drop the hips low. For me, I know that when I'm battling with any sort of stress, I definitely hold on to it in my hips as well as through my neck and my shoulders. You might notice the same, or you might hold it differently in your body. Right hand's going to come down to the mat, opening up with the left arm, just checking that that left knee is staying over the ankle. Placing the hand back down, up in the back toes, stepping back down the dog. This time, walking the feet towards the hands at the top of the mat. You can bend the knees as much as you need. Coming into a ragdoll fold at the top of the mat, so you can bend the knees as much as you need. Really try and relax the neck. You might like to hold on to opposite elbows or just let the arms dangle. Maybe having a little sway from side to side. Noticing where you might be feeling the tension, anywhere that needs decompressing. So maybe it's more in your neck or your shoulders. Maybe it's in the upper back. And maybe the whole of the spine is feeling like it's a bit compressed and needs stretching out. Just allow your head to be completely heavy. Imagine you're sending your breath to wherever you're feeling this. And release the arms, slowly, slowly starting to unravel all the way up to standing. Rolling shoulders back and away from ears. And coming in to do some little neck rolls. So I'll just turn so I can face you. So just dropping ear to one shoulder and rolling chin to chest over to the other side. Staying at the front of the body, so chin to chest, over to the other shoulder. You might want to do this with your breath, maybe even with your eyes closed. So inhale, center, exhale, over to the other side. Inhale, dropping the chin to center, exhale to the other side. Just going with your own pace of breath. And you can pause to breathe into any tight spots that you might find. And bringing the head to the center one more time and then rolling it up. Inhale, reach the arms up, interlace the fingers and push the hands away. Really stretching up tall and rooting the feet down. Take an inhale, reach up, and then exhale, stretching over to your right hand side, pushing the hip out to the left. Inhale to center, exhale, move to the other side. Inhale to center, reach up. Exhale, releasing the hands, bringing them down beside you. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, folding all the way down. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, folding it down, stepping back the left foot, and then dropping the left knee to the mat. So you should land back into that low lunge with the right foot forward. Then just lifting through the chest, sinking the hips forward to begin with. And then the left hand's coming down to the mat, bending the back knee, and then just see whether you can reach around with the right hand. You might be able to take hold of the foot, you might not. You might just be here, that's fine. You might even want to release the foot back down to the mat. But if you are drawing it in, just try and keep the hips still sinking down. Coming into a little bit of a quad stretch. Again, that's somewhere where we might hold some tension if we're feeling any stress. As our legs prepare to run us away from the imagined danger. Releasing the back foot, placing the hands down, and this time straightening that right leg, walking the hands back, coming into your half splits. You might be right up high on fingertips, or you may be able to just start to fold in towards the right leg. So think about really stretching the crown of the head forward so that you're not compressing the spine again, you're actually trying to lengthen it. Walking the hands back forward as you bend that right leg, plant the hands, tuck the back toes, stepping back to your downward dog, placing the knees down to the mat, coming back into a child's pose. Knees can be about hip distance apart. Really reaching the fingertips long, stretching the neck, so reaching the crown of the head forward, sinking the bottom back towards the heels. As much length into the spine as you can. And coming forward, back onto the hands and knees, and then tucking the toes, coming into your downward dog. Walking the feet towards the hands at the top of the mat. Coming back into that forward fold, so you can either come into the same version, or if you're a bit more comfortable with the legs straighter now, you can keep them a bit straighter. Maybe having hands down to the mat, maybe coming back into holding opposite elbows. Just do what works for you, what feels like the right version for you right now. Just breathing deeply, imagine we're sending it all the way down the back of the body, all along the back and the back of the legs. And then on our inhale, slowly unraveling, rolling all the way up, reaching the arms up as we go. Exhale, palms come together at the heart. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, folding all the way down. Inhale, halfway, flat back. Exhale, folding it in, stepping back the opposite leg this time, right foot steps back, and then right knee drops down to the mat, so we come into that low lunge on the left side. Starting by sinking the hips forward, lifting through the chest. And then the right hand's coming down to the mat, bending the back knee, and you might just be here, this might be enough for you. Maybe you're able to reach around with the left arm and draw the foot in towards you for a quad stretch variation. Releasing the back foot, planting the hands, walking ourselves back into our half split. The right leg's going to be about 90 degrees to the mat. You might be up really high. You might even need some props to prop your fingertips up, or you might be able to start to fold in towards the left leg. Again, just trying to lengthen the spine forward though, rather than rounding down. Rebending that left knee, walking the hands forward to frame the foot, tucking the toes, stepping back to your downward dog. This time bringing knees down to the mat, big toes together. Knees are going to come out to the side and coming back into child's pose, but extended child's pose. Reaching the fingertips forward. Allowing the neck to be long. Then coming up onto the fingertips, going to walk the hands over to the right hand side. And stretch over to the right, and maybe the left hand could plant itself on top of the right to really stretch down the left hand side of the body. And then walking the hands back to center, and then we'll walk them over to the other side, so over to the left. This time the left palm will come down first, then maybe the right hand will stack on top of it. Walking the hands back to the center. And then walking them back in towards you so that we can sit back. Bringing knees together, we're going to sit back onto our heels, so just tucking the toes underneath you. I know this can be quite intense, so if it is for you, you can always lift your weight forward a little bit. If you're able to, we'll sit all the way back. You might just need to move the little toe so that all the toes are spread out. Lifting up tall, dropping right ear towards right shoulder. Pausing here, letting the head be heavy. Taking a couple of deep breaths. And then bringing the head back to center. This time dropping chin towards chest. Again, a couple of deep breaths here. Lifting the head back to center. Dropping left ear towards left shoulder. And relax the neck. Couple of deep breaths. And comes back to center. Reach the arms up, stretch up. Exhale, hands to the heart, and then coming forward onto the hands, releasing the feet behind you, maybe giving them a little tap out. Tucking the toes, downward dog. Walking the feet towards the hands at the top of the mat. Just a couple of breaths in your forward fold, noticing if this feels any easier or any different to how it did first time you did it, whether there's a little bit more release in your back or your hamstrings. And then inhale, slowly rolling up to stand. Arms going with you. Exhale, hands to heart. Just planting the feet down now. So grounding through the feet. We'll start to think about taking the weight into the left foot. We'll start with our foundation, so our connection to the earth. Taking the weight into the left leg, into the left foot. Kicking out the right foot and wrapping the leg over the left. So we're getting ready to come into our eagle pose. So either squeezing the thighs together or maybe you're wrapping the toes all the way around the back of the calf. Try and keep the hips facing forward. And then arms come out to the side. Right arm is going to wrap underneath the left. Binding once or twice. If you are there, lifting the arms up and just gently away from you so that you're feeling a stretch across the back of the shoulders, shoulder blades opening up. Maybe bending into the standing leg. Don't forget to breathe. Releasing the arms, releasing the legs. Squeezing the arms up. Interlacing the fingers, reaching up. Inhale. Exhale, stretch over to the right, hip out to the left. Back to center. Over to the other side. Come back to center. And hands come down to the heart. Come onto the other side. So taking the weight into the right foot this time. Left leg's going to wrap over the top. So again, either squeezing together, maybe the toes are down, even all the way around, whatever works for you. Arms out to the side, left arm wrapping underneath the right this time. Lifting the arms up, drawing shoulder blades away from one another. Maybe sinking into the legs. But really squeezing the thighs together. Finding that point of focus. And remembering to breathe. Releasing the legs, releasing the arms, stretching it up. Exhale, hands come down. Hand into the side, taking a big step out so we're wide on the mat. So feet are going to be parallel with the short edges of the mat. Maybe big toes very slightly in towards one another. Inhale, arms come to shoulder height. Exhale, hands to waist. Inhale, lifting and lengthening through the chest. Exhale, hinging from the hips, folding forward. Maybe releasing hands down towards the mat, otherwise you can just keep them at the waist if that feels more comfortable for you. You might want to give the head just a little shake. Just check in that you're not holding any tension, trying to lift the head up, allowing it to be heavy. Then just walking the hands forward slightly so they're underneath your head. Left hand comes to the center, directly underneath your head. And then inhale, opening up with the right arm, twisting to the right hand side. A couple of deep breaths here. And on exhale, we'll bring the right hand down, swap its position with the left. Inhale, left arm rises. A couple of breaths here. And on an exhale, left hand comes down. Hands come back to the waist. Inhale, rolling all the way back up. Turning towards the top of the mat and taking a big step forward. Inhale, reaching up. Exhale, folding all the way down. Inhale, halfway. Exhale, folding it down. Stepping back to your downward dog. And then coming onto hands and knees and just taking hold of your props. So whatever cushions, blankets, maybe even bolster you've got. I'm using a bolster, so you might just have a rolled up blanket or a couple of cushions. We're going to pop it towards the top of the mat and then sliding yourself onto your tummy. And then use it to come into a supported version of Sphinx pose. So Sphinx pose is normally with arms underneath and lifting up, but sometimes if you've got a lot of tension in your shoulders and neck, this can feel like there's quite a lot of pressure here. So just using whatever you've got to help position underneath your chest. So the further away it is, so the higher up the chest it is, the more gentle this back bend is going to be. The closer in you have it, obviously, the more intense you make it. So you might end up being in more of a kind of cobra pose, but it's using it to support the chest. And then you can focus your attention on trying to lift the head forward and up so you don't feel like there's any sort of compression or tension in the spine. Fronts of the feet are going to be down. Hips are pressing down onto the mat also, so just really focus on that lengthening and lifting through the crown of the head. You can play around with the position of your cushions or props. And then once you settle in, we'll take 5 to 10 deep rounds of breath here. So try and release any tension. You shouldn't really need to use any strength to keep yourself here. Gently easing yourself out so you can push it into the hands, lift yourself up, moving your props out of the way. And then we're going to sit all the way back and swing our legs around in front of us. Legs are coming out in front of us. Extending both legs long and then bending the right knee, placing the right foot to the inside of the thigh. Then we're going to come into a passive version of this forward fold. So start by lifting and lengthening. And allow yourself to round in towards the left leg. I like to turn my palms facing up so I'm not tempted to pull myself in. So allowing the head to be completely heavy, the back to relax. You're not trying to push yourself forward into it, just allowing yourself to land wherever you do naturally. And just turning the palms so that they're facing down, using your hands to help guide yourself back up. Picking up that right foot, crossing it over the left leg. Inhale, lifting and lengthening. Exhale, twisting the torso only to the right hand side. Try and have a nice long spine. Make sure you're not rounding and collapsing. If it's comfortable for you, you can turn your gaze over the right shoulder, otherwise it can just stay here in line with your neck. Your next inhale, come back to center, exhale, release. So this time we're going to bend the left knee, placing the left foot to the inside of the right thigh. As before, inhale, lifting and lengthening. Exhale, starting by hinging forward and then allowing yourself to round and soften. Maybe turning the palms facing up so that you're not tempted to pull yourself further into the toes. And then turning the palm so that palms facing down, easing yourself back up. Taking up the left foot, crossing it over the right leg and placing it down. Inhale, lift and lengthen. Exhale, rotating to the left. Inhale, come back to center. This time bringing soles of the feet together and knees falling out to the side. You might want to keep them a little way away from you, like a diamond shape. Don't worry about how close to the mat the knees are. If they're landing is fine. But again, we're going to make this a passive forward fold. So forward folds are also really good for decompressing the spine and releasing any tension and stress. So reaching the forward with the flat back and then allowing yourself to round and soften. So you might be able to snuggle the arms just underneath the legs, arms facing up. So as if you were dropping the head towards the feet. Again, just checking in that you're not tensing through the neck, trying to hold it up. You don't want it to be heavy. Start to unravel. Make all the way back up. Bringing knees back together. Bending the legs. Coming to lie on your back. Hugging the knees into towards the chest briefly before extending the legs. And we're going to finish off just with banana pose. So you want to put your feet down on the mat and just lift your hips and shuffle them over to the right hand side of the mat. Then the legs are going to extend and you're going to take them over to the left hand corner of the mat. So you're coming into a banana shape. Trying to keep the right hip down and then just pushing into the elbows to lift the chest moving the chest over to the left-hand side of the mat also. Maybe taking arms overhead if it's comfortable to do so, holding up the elbows. And just keep thinking about rotating this right hip down so that you're trying to keep the body facing up towards the ceiling. Finally, you might want to cross the right ankle over the left, but only as long as you're not then rolling. We're staying as flat as we can, and you should feel quite a nice, or I say nice, you should feel a stretch or a sensation along the right-hand side of the body. So just adjust as needed, keeping in mind your own level that you want to be at. We don't need to push ourselves to sensation, just wherever you want to be in this pose. And just gently releasing so you can bend the knees and bring the feet back down to the mat, body back to center, and then just pushing into the feet. We'll shift the hips over to the other side. Bend the legs again. This time they're coming over to the right-hand corner of the mat. And then picking up the body, doing the same, taking it over to the right-hand side. Keep rotating that left hip down this time. And then maybe seeing the left ankle over right. If you're able to do so, and still keep flat body. So just finding your edge. And then imagine you're sending your breath into that left-hand side of your body. Taking your final breath here. And just starting to ease out by bringing the feet back down to the mat, hips back to center, head and shoulders back to center, just finishing off by hugging the knees in towards the chest. Have a little rock across the spine. And then we'll extend the legs and come into Shavasana. So any adjustments you need to do to make sure you can get comfortable. Bending the legs, letting feet fall out to the side, arms down beside you with palms facing up. Shoulders just coming down away from the ears. Think about a nice long neck. Just taking a few moments to get yourself settled in a comfortable position. And just gently closing your eyes, letting your breath settle back down to a natural pattern now. Feel your forehead soften and your body get heavy on the mat. Allowing yourself to completely relax now from the top of your head, the tips of your fingers, the tips of your toes. Just taking a few moments now, simply breathe and be. Start to breathe a little bit deeper now. Some awareness back to the body. A little bit of movement to the fingers, the toes. Gently rolling the head from side to side. Gradually making the movements a little bit bigger now, maybe circling through the wrists, the ankles, until it leads you into a nice big full body stretch. And then when you're ready, just gently rolling onto your right hand side, curling up into a little ball, or easing yourself back up into a comfortable position. So there, just gently closing the eyes if you had opened them. Bringing your hands together at the heart in prayer position. Just taking a moment to check in with how you feel now compared with how you did at the start of the practice. Noticing any changes either physically or emotionally. Closing our practice with a deep breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Thank you so much for joining me today, everyone. May the peace of yoga stay with you. Namaste.